First contact. The year was 2247. Humanity had spread across the solar system, establishing colonies on Mars, Europa, and Titan, mining outposts in the asteroid belt, and research stations orbiting the gas giants. Despite this expansion, Earth remained humanity's crown jewel, a restored paradise after centuries of environmental recovery efforts. Admiral Cassandra Chen stood before the curved window of Orbital Command Station Artemis, her reflection overlaying the blue-green sphere of Earth below. At 53, her face showed the weathering of a career spent in space, with deep lines around her eyes and strands of silver threading through her black hair. Her uniform, adorned with the emblem of the United Earth Defense Force, fit her tall frame precisely. "Admiral," a voice came from behind. "The Security Council is assembled." Chen turned to face her aide, Lieutenant Rivera, and Dr. Nakamura, already presenting the findings. Chen nodded and followed Rivera through the station's sleek corridors. The Security Council chamber was a hemisphere of polished surfaces and holographic displays. 12 faces, some in person, others projected from across the solar system, turned to Chen as she entered. "Admiral Chen." Secretary General Okafor's deep voice resonated through the chamber. "Dr. Nakamura has shared the deep space telemetry. We need your assessment." Chen stepped to the center of the room as a three-dimensional star map materialized around her. A swarm of red markers approached from the direction of Ta City. 4 days ago, our deep space monitoring network detected these objects crossing the heliobos, Chen said. Initially classified as anomalous asteroid fragments. However, their movement patterns reveal deliberate course corrections. They're ships, hundreds of them, and they're heading directly for Earth. The room fell silent. "First contact," whispered Governor Patel of the Mars colonies. "Not the way we hoped for it," Chen replied. "These vessels are accelerating at rates our physics barely theorizes. Their energy signatures suggest technology centuries beyond our capabilities." "Have they responded to hails?" asked Admiral Zhao of the Jupiter Defense Fleet. "We've transmitted on all frequencies using standard first contact protocols. Their response was..." Chen nodded to her aide. Rivera activated a recording. A harsh, clicking language filled the chamber, followed by the cold, mechanical voice of a translation eye. "Lesser species of the third planet, the Vorex Dominion claimed your system. Surrender your resources and submit to classification. Resistance will result in biological discontinuation." More silence, heavier this time. "How long do we have?" Secretary General Okafor asked. "At current acceleration rates, the Vanguard will reach Earth orbit in 7 days, Chen answered. "The main fleet, 14 days. Our defensive capabilities." Okafor pressed. Chen's expression remained stoic, but her eyes betrayed the grim reality. The combined fleets of Earth, Mars, and the outer colonies total 87 combat vessels. Most are patrol cruisers designed for policing shipping lanes, not warfare. Against hundreds of advanced alien ships, she didn't need to finish. Dr. Nakamura, a slight man with nervous hands, spoke up. "Their energy readings suggest weapons capable of planetary bombardment. One ship could devastate a continent. Evacuation is impossible," Governor Patel said. "We can't relocate billions in 2 weeks, and even if we could, where would they go?" Chen stepped forward. "There is one option." She tapped her wrist display, and the hologram shifted to show a single ship in a hidden orbital dock. Project Titan. Several council members exchanged glances. "The experimental vessel?" Admiral Zhao's projection asked. "It's not even completed its shakedown cruise. It's the only ship we have incorporating the gravitational manipulation drive and adaptive hull technology," Chen said. "The Titan was designed as a testbed for theoretical technologies, things we weren't sure would work. But they do work, and they're the only advantages we have." One prototype ship against an armada. General Santos of the Earth Defense Grid scoffed. "The Titan isn't meant to win a conventional battle," Chen explained. It's designed to survive long enough to deploy its primary weapon, the Singularity Cascade. The Security Council chamber erupted with voices. That technology is untested. The ethical implications alone. We have no choice. Chen's voice cut through the noise. The Singularity Cascade creates a controlled temporary disruption in space-time. If deployed within the enemy fleet, it could disable or destroy a significant portion of their forces. Secretary General Okafor raised a hand for silence. And who would pilot this mission? It sounds like a suicide run. I've already selected the crew, Chen answered. Captain Elena Reyes. Holographic images appeared. A woman in her late 30s, with intense eyes and short-cropped hair. Her service record scrolled beside her image. Reyes is the best tactical mind we have, Chen continued. She spent the last 3 years training in the Titan simulators. If anyone can pull this off, it's her. The council debated for hours. In the end, with no better options, they authorized the mission. As the meeting adjourned, Chen remained alone in the chamber, staring at the holographic display of the approaching alien fleet. God help us all, she whispered to the empty room. 3 days later, Captain Elena Reyes stood in the docking bay of Lunar Base Galileo, watching the final preparations on her ship through the observation window. The Titan didn't look impressive, not compared to the massive colony ships or even the standard UEDF cruisers. Its hull was matte black, absorbing light rather than reflecting it, with subtle contours that seemed to shift when viewed from different angles. She doesn't look like much, a voice said behind her. Reyes turned to see Admiral Chen approaching. She's not supposed to, Reyes replied. Looking unimpressive is part of her design. Chen nodded. Your crew is assembled. All volunteers. They understand the odds. Everyone knows this is likely one way, Chen said, but they also know what happens if we do nothing. Reyes looked back at the ship. The Vorex Vanguard has already engaged our outer system patrols. Jupiter Defense Station is gone. 8 ships lost. They barely slowed down, Chen confirmed. Like swatting flies, our forces are falling back to Mars. We'll try to give you a clear path out of the system. Reyes turned to fully face the Admiral. The Singularity Cascade. Has there been any progress on controlling the radius? Chen shook her head. Dr. Nakamura says the physics are too unpredictable. Once initiated, the cascade will expand according to its own internal logic. You'll need to be at least 300,000 kilometers clear before detonation. That's cutting it close with the drive's recharge time. It's the best we can do. Chen extended her hand. Humanity is counting on you, Captain. Reyes took the offered hand. No pressure, then. 2 hours later, Reyes walked onto the bridge of the Titan. The command center was compact, but ergonomic, with 5 stations arranged in a semicircle. Her crew was already at their posts. Lieutenant Commander Maya Wong at navigation, Lieutenant Sanjay Patel at tactical, Dr. Eliza Santos at systems, and Lieutenant James Chen at communications. Captain on bridge, announced Wong as Reyes took her seat in the command chair. Status report, Reyes ordered, strapping herself in. All systems nominal, Dr. Santos reported from her station. Adaptive hull at 100%. Gi drive charged and ready. Conventional weapons hot. Singularity Cascade, Reyes asked. Santos hesitated. Armed but locked. Arming codes are in your command console, Captain. Reyes nodded. Communications. Channel open to Lunar Command, Lieutenant Chen replied. Lunar Command, this is Titan, Reyes said. Request departure clearance. Admiral Chen's voice came through clear. Titan, you are cleared for departure. All solar system defense forces have been notified of your mission. You are authorized to proceed at your discretion. Acknowledged, Reyes said. Beginning departure sequence. The Titan detached from its moorings with barely a shudder. Thrusters fired silently, pushing the ship away from the lunar base. Clear of dock, Wong reported. Ready for primary engine ignition. Take us out, Lieutenant Commander, Rise ordered. Standard drive until we clear Earth's gravity well. The Titan accelerated smoothly, Earth and the Moon shrinking behind them. Captain, Lieutenant Chen called from communications. Incoming transmission. It's the Vorax. Rice tensed. On screen. The main display flickered, revealing a being unlike anything in humanity's experience. The Vorax had a vaguely insectoid appearance, with multiple compound eyes and mandibles that clicked as it spoke. Its exoskeleton gleamed with what appeared to be embedded technology. The translation came through a moment later. Attention, human vessel. You have been detected departing your moon. State your purpose. Reyes straightened in her chair. This is Captain Elena Reyes of the Earth vessel Titan. We request dialogue with your leadership regarding your presence in our system. The alien's mandibles clicked rapidly. Our scans indicate your vessel is unarmed and poses no threat. Your request for dialogue is acknowledged. Transmit your surrender protocols and prepare to be boarded. Reyes exchanged glances with her tactical officer. We do not recognize your authority in this system. We come seeking peaceful resolution. Peace is available through submission. The Vorax responded. Your species has been evaluated and found technologically primitive. Classification. Resource provider, Category 3. You will serve the Dominion or face extinction. The transmission cut abruptly. Charming, muttered Lieutenant Patel at Tactical. They're scanning us, Dr. Santos reported. The adaptive hull is working. They're only seeing what we want them to see. Good, Rice said. They think we're no threat. She turned to navigation. Lieutenant Commander Wong, plot an intercept course with the Vorax Vanguard. Lieutenant Patel, ready all conventional weapons but keep them powered down. Let's maintain our harmless appearance a little longer. As the Titan accelerated toward its encounter with the alien armada, Rice studied the tactical display. Hundreds of Vorax ships, arranged in perfect formation, approached the inner solar system. Mars would be their first major target. Send a final encrypted message to Earth, Rice ordered. Tell them we're proceeding as planned. After that, communications blackout. The Titan soared silently toward its destination, carrying humanity's last hope against an enemy that saw them as nothing more than resources to be harvested. Behind them, Earth prepared for what might be its final days as a free world. Rice stared at the approaching alien fleet on her display. Let's show them how dangerous primitive can be. The engagement. The Titan approached the Vorax Vanguard 17 hours later, just beyond the orbit of Mars. From this distance, the alien vessels resembled predatory sea creatures, sleek, with strange organic curves despite their metallic construction. The smallest was twice the size of Earth's largest battleship. The largest dwarfed even colony ships. They've detected us, Lieutenant James Chen reported from communications. 3 vessels breaking formation to intercept. Captain Rice leaned forward in her command chair. Time to intercept. 12 minutes at current speeds, Lieutenant Commander Wong answered from navigation. All stations, final preparations, Rice ordered. Dr. Santos, status of the adaptive hull. Operating within parameters, Santos replied, her fingers dancing across her console. As far as they can tell, we're an unarmed diplomatic vessel. Lieutenant Patel, arm kinetic weapons but keep them powered down. Prepare targeting solutions for the approaching vessels. Aye, Captain, Patel acknowledged. Targeting solutions ready. Rice addressed the entire bridge crew. Remember your training. We have one chance to demonstrate to the Vorax that humanity isn't as primitive as they believe. Let's make it count. The intercepting Vorax ships grew larger on the main view screen. 3 sleek, predatory vessels with glowing ports along their hulls that pulsed with energy. Incoming transmission, Lieutenant Chen announced. On screen, Rice ordered. The insectoid face of a Vorax commander appeared. Its mandibles clicked rapidly before the translation came through. Human vessel, you have entered restricted space. Power down your engines and prepare for boarding. Resistance is. Rice cut the transmission with a gesture. They're expecting us to either surrender or run, she said. Let's surprise them. Lieutenant Commander Wong, bring us to a complete stop. Full stop, aye, Wong confirmed, and the Titan's momentum ceased with impossible suddenness. They're scanning us again, Santos reported. Their weapons are powering up. I think we confused them. Good, Rice said. Lieutenant Patel, activate targeting systems. Dr. Santos, prepare to drop the adaptive hull disguise. Lieutenant Chen, open a channel. When the Vorex commander reappeared on screen, Rice stood from her chair. Vorex vessel, this is Captain Elena Reyes. You have entered sovereign human space without permission. We do not recognize your claim to our system. Withdraw immediately. The alien's compound eyes seemed to shimmer with what might have been amusement. Your species' defiance is noted but irrelevant. Your capabilities have been assessed. You pose no threat to the Dominion. Reyes smiled thinly. About those capabilities, you might want to scan us again. She nodded to Dr. Santos, who pressed a sequence on her console. The Titan's hull shimmered as the adaptive camouflage deactivated, revealing the ship's true nature, a vessel bristling with advanced weapon systems that had been completely hidden from the alien scans. The Vorex commander's mandibles clicked rapidly in what the crew assumed was alarm. Now, Lieutenant Patel, Rise ordered. The Titan erupted with activity. Kinetic weapons fired with pinpoint accuracy, targeting the propulsion systems of the nearest Vorex vessel. The shots hit with devastating effect, tearing through the alien ship's armor as if it were paper. Direct hits, Paddle reported. Their propulsion is disabled. The other two are powering weapons, Santos warned. Initiate evasive pattern Delta, Rise commanded. Activate the G-drive, 15%. The Titan's revolutionary gravitational manipulation drive engaged. Unlike conventional engines that pushed against reality, the G-drive bent it. Space warped around the Titan, and the ship seemed to slip sideways just as energy beams from the Vorex ships lanced through the space it had occupied a millisecond before. G-drive functioning within parameters, Santos confirmed. 15% power holding steady. The Vorex ships fired again, their weapons tracking to predict the Titan's movement. But the G-drive defied conventional physics. The Titan appeared to be in multiple places simultaneously, confounding the aliens' targeting systems. They're transmitting to the main fleet, Chen reported. Sending tactical data about us. As expected, Rice said. Lieutenant Patel, prepare the resonance torpedoes. Target the second vessel's weapon systems. The Titan's torpedo bays opened, launching projectiles that appeared to phase in and out of normal space as they traveled. The Vorex vessel attempted evasive maneuvers, but the torpedoes adjusted their trajectory in ways that defied Newtonian physics, striking the alien ship's weapon ports with surgical precision. Secondary explosions detected, Patil announced. Their primary weapons array is offline. The third Vorex ship began to retreat, accelerating rapidly back toward the main fleet. Should we pursue? Wong asked. No, Rice decided. Let it go. That ship will report what happened here. Let's give the Vorex something to think about. She turned to Chen. Prepare a message to the main Vorex fleet. When the channel opened, Rice stood tall before the camera. Attention Vorex Dominion. You have witnessed a demonstration of human defensive capabilities. What you saw represents only a fraction of our technology. We are not the primitives you believed us to be. Withdraw from our system immediately, or face the consequences. She signaled to end the transmission. Think they'll buy it? Patil asked. Not entirely, Rise admitted. But they'll be more cautious now, which buys us time. She turned to Santos. Status of the Singularity Cascade. Primed but still locked, Captain, Santos reported. All systems nominal. Reyes nodded grimly. We've shown them we can bite. Now let's see how they respond. The response came 3 hours later as the Titan maintained position near the disabled Vorex vessels. Long-range sensors detected a significant portion of the Vorex fleet breaking away from their approach to Earth. turning to intercept the Titan instead. 27 vessels on approach, Patel reported, including what appears to be a command ship 3 times the size of the others. They've taken the bait, Rice said. Lieutenant Commander Wong, set course deeper into the asteroid belt. We'll use the terrain to our advantage. Course laid in, Wong confirmed. G-drive at 30%. Make it 40, Rice ordered. Let's show them something really interesting. The Titan accelerated into the asteroid belt, its G-drive allowing it to navigate between the massive rocks with impossible precision. Behind them, the Vorex fleet followed, their larger ships forced to destroy asteroids in their path rather than navigate around them. They're using energy weapons to clear their path, Santos observed. Highly inefficient. They're burning through power reserves. Perfect, Rice said. Find us a nice, dense cluster of asteroids, Lieutenant Commander. Something with a lot of heavy metals. Wong grinned as she understood the captain's plan. There's a suitable cluster about 6 million kilometers to port. High concentration of nickel-iron asteroids. Take us there. Best speed. The Titan darted between asteroids, the G-drive allowing maneuvers that would tear a conventional ship apart. The pursuing Vorex vessels continued to blast their way through, their formation gradually spreading out as some ships navigated the field better than others. We've got them stretched thin, Patel noted. The lead vessels are now 4 million kilometers ahead of the trailing ships. Approaching the metal-rich cluster, Wong announced. Perfect. Bring us to a stop in the center, Rice ordered. Dr. Santos, prepare the EM pulse generators. Generators online, Santos confirmed, charging to maximum capacity. The Titan settled into position within a dense cluster of metallic asteroids just as the first Vorex ships approached. They're surrounding us, Patel warned, cutting off escape vectors. Let them, Rice said calmly. The closer, the better. The view screen showed Vorex vessels moving into position, their weapons ports glowing with energy as they prepared to fire on the seemingly cornered human ship. Incoming transmission, Chen reported. The main Vorex commander appeared on screen, its alien features arranged in what might have been smugness. Human vessel. Your resistance is noted but futile. Surrender now, and your crew will be preserved for study. Continue to resist, and you will be disintegrated. Ray stood from her chair, her expression calm. We appreciate the offer, but we have a counter-proposal. She nodded to Santos. Ian impulse at full charge, Santos reported. Fire, Rise ordered. The Titan released a massive electromagnetic pulse, far more powerful than anything Earth had previously generated. The pulse rippled outward, amplified by the metallic asteroids surrounding them, and struck the Vorex ships like a tsunami. On the view screen, the alien vessels suddenly went dark, their energy signatures fluctuating wildly as systems overloaded. Direct hit, Santos confirmed. Their ships are experiencing massive power fluctuations. Their shields are down, weapons offline. 17 vessels completely disabled, Patel added. The others are operating on reduced power. Now, Lieutenant Patel, Rise ordered. Target their propulsion and communication systems. Kinetic weapons only. The Titan's weapons fired in rapid succession, each shot finding its mark with devastating accuracy. Unable to raise shields or evade, the Vorex ships took hit after hit to critical systems. Captain, Chen called out, we're receiving transmissions from the Vorex fleet. They're calling for reinforcements. Time to go, Rice decided. Lieutenant Commander Wong, get us clear of this debris field. Set course for the rendezvous point. Aye, Captain, Wong acknowledged, her fingers flying over her console. The Titan slipped away from the disabled Vorex vessels, accelerating smoothly as its G-drive engaged. Behind them, the remaining functional alien ships struggled to coordinate a pursuit with damaged systems. They've underestimated us twice now, Rice said to her bridge crew. Next time, they'll come with everything they have. Is that what we want? Patil asked. Rice's expression was grim but determined. That's exactly what we want, Lieutenant. For the Singularity Cascade to be effective, we need as many of their ships concentrated in one location as possible. The Titan sped away from the asteroid field, leaving confusion and disabled Vorex ships in its wake. The trap had been sprung, the bait taken. Now came the most dangerous part of the mission. Dr. Santos, Rice said quietly, begin final preparations for the Singularity Cascade. The next engagement will be our last, one way or another. As the Titan accelerated toward the predetermined coordinates, the crew worked in focused silence, each aware that the fate of humanity now rested entirely on their shoulders. The Vorex had learned that humans were not the primitives they had assumed, but the real test was yet to come. Reversal of fortune. The Titan reached the designated coordinates 6 hours later, a region of empty space halfway between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter, carefully selected for its distance from any human outposts or civilian vessels. Captain Rice stood at the center of the bridge, reviewing tactical projections with her senior officers. Sensor data confirms the Vorex are mobilizing their entire fleet, Lieutenant Puddle reported, pointing to the holographic display. Over 200 vessels converging on our position. Estimated time of arrival. Rise asked. Lead elements in 90 minutes, Wong answered from navigation. Main force 2 hours after that. Rise nodded, studying the display. They're not taking any chances this time. They're coming with overwhelming force. As we hoped, Dr. Santos added, though her voice betrayed her nervousness. The more ships in the Cascade's radius, the more effective it will be. Lieutenant Chen, status of our communications? Rise asked. Maintaining radio silence as ordered, Captain, Chen replied. But we're still receiving. Earth Defense Fleet reports they're in position to capitalize on any advantage we create. Rise circled the holographic display, her expression thoughtful. The Vorex believe they've learned our capabilities from the previous engagements. They'll be prepared for the G-Drive's maneuverability, the adaptive hull, our weapons systems. She paused. But they still don't know about the Cascade. The final calculations are complete, Santos said, handing Rice a datapad. Once initiated, the Cascade will take approximately 47 seconds to reach critical mass. After that, the space-time distortion will expand at an exponential rate for approximately 90 seconds before collapsing. And the effective radius? Rise asked. Based on current power levels, approximately 600,000 kilometers, Santos answered. Everything within that radius will experience extreme gravitational shear, tidal forces, and temporal distortion, including us, if we don't clear the area, Wong added quietly. Rise looked at each of her officers in turn. You all volunteered knowing this mission might be one way. If anyone wants to use one of the escape pods before the Vorex arrive, now is the time. No judgment, no record of it. The bridge remained silent, each officer meeting their captain's gaze steadily. I thought not, Rice said with a small smile. Then let's finalize our strategy. Over the next hour, the crew made their preparations. The Titan's systems were checked and rechecked. The Singularity Cascade device, a spherical object no larger than a basketball housed in the ship's central core, was verified operational. Each officer recorded a brief personal message to be transmitted to Earth if the opportunity arose. When the first Vorex scouts appeared at the edge of sensor range, the Titan was ready. 3 scout vessels approaching, Patil announced. Standard search pattern. Let them see us, Rise ordered. No evasive action. The Vorex scouts approached cautiously, maintaining distance as they scanned the Titan thoroughly. They're transmitting to their main fleet, Chen reported, confirming our position. Good, Rice said. Dr. Santos, begin power-up sequence for the Cascade. Lieutenant Commander Wong, calculate our exit vector. We'll need maximum acceleration the moment the device is triggered. Exit vector calculated, Wong confirmed. G-Drive will require 20 seconds to reach full power after the energy drain from the Cascade initialization. 20 seconds, Rise repeated. That's cutting it close. Too close, Santos said. The cascade's effects will begin manifesting before we can clear the area. Reyes nodded, having already accepted this reality. We'll just have to outrun it. The G-drive gives us better odds than any other ship would have. The minutes ticked by as more Vorex vessels arrived. First dozens, then scores, forming a spherical formation around the Titan. Unlike their previous encounters, the aliens maintained their distance, clearly wary of whatever tricks the human vessel might employ. Main Vorex fleet arriving, Patil announced. 137 ships now in sensor range, more still arriving. They're hailing us, Chen said. On screen, Reyes ordered. The Vorex commander appeared, larger than those they'd encountered before, with more elaborate technological implants embedded in its exoskeleton. Its compound eyes seemed to glitter with malice. Human vessel, the translation came through. Your resistance has been studied. Your technologies have been analyzed. You are surrounded by the might of the Vorex Dominion. There will be no escape this time. Reyes stood tall, facing the alien commander. We understand you've come to classify us, to determine our worth to your Dominion. Your classification has been revised. The Vorex commander clicked. From resource provider to potential threat. This changes nothing except the thoroughness of your extinction. Before you attempt that, Reyes said calmly, I want to be sure you understand exactly who you're dealing with. Humanity isn't just another species for you to catalog and conquer. We have something your Dominion seems to lack. And what is that? The alien asked, its mandibles clicking in what might have been amusement. Imagination, Reyes answered. The ability to conceive of things that have never existed before and then bring them into reality. It's allowed us to survive against overwhelming odds throughout our history. Your philosophical posturing is irrelevant. The Vorex commander dismissed. Your imagination will not save you from our weapons. That's where you're wrong, Reyes said. It already has. She cut the transmission with a gesture. They're moving into attack formation, Patil warned. Multiple weapon systems powering up. All ships are now within the cascade's effective radius, Santos reported. Reyes nodded. This is it. Lieutenant Chen, transmit our data package to Earth. Everything we've learned about Vorex technology and tactics. Lieutenant Commander Wong, prepare for maximum acceleration on my mark. Dr. Santos, begin cascade initialization sequence. Santos input a complex series of commands, then looked up at Reyes. The final authorization requires your code, Captain. Reyes entered her command code into the console. The ship hummed as power flowed into the cascade device. Initialization confirmed. Cascade will reach critical mass in 47 seconds. Vorex vessels are firing, Patil shouted. Energy beams from dozens of alien ships converged on the Titan's position. The ship shuddered under the assault, its advanced defenses barely holding. Hull integrity at 70%, Santos reported. Shields failing. Reroute all non-essential power to shields, Reyes ordered. We just need to hold together for 30 more seconds. Another barrage hit the Titan, more powerful than the first. Warning lights flashed across the bridge as systems overloaded. Hull integrity at 40%, Santos called out, her voice strained. Cascade at 75% to critical mass. They're moving closer, Wong warned, tightening their formation to concentrate their fire. Perfect, Reyes said, despite the ship shaking around them. The closer, the better. A massive impact rocked the Titan, throwing crew members against their restraints. A support beam crashed down from the ceiling, narrowly missing Reyes. Hull breach on Deck 3. Santos shouted over the alarms. Emergency force fields engage. Cascade at 90%, Patil reported. 10 seconds to critical mass. Lieutenant Commander Wong. Reyes called out, activate G-drive, maximum power. G-drive engaging. Wong confirmed, her hands flying across her console despite the chaos around her. The Titan lurched forward as the G-drive engaged, space distorting around it. The sudden acceleration caught the Vorex vessels by surprise, creating a momentary gap in their formation. "Cascade has reached critical mass," Santos announced. At the heart of the Titan, the singularity cascade activated. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, space itself began to warp visibly around the ship. Stars appeared to stretch and twist in the viewscreen as the fabric of reality buckled under the device's influence. "We have 90 seconds before full expansion," Santos said. G-drive at 60% and climbing. The Titan accelerated away from the center of the Vorax formation, pushing its systems beyond design specifications. Behind them, the distortion grew, expanding outward at an accelerating rate. "Vorax vessels are being affected," Paddle reported, watching his sensors. "Their formations are breaking up." On the view screen, they could see alien ships beginning to distort as the cascade's effects intensified. Some vessels stretched impossibly before snapping back. Others seemed to fold in upon themselves in ways that defied the laws of physics. "G-drive at 90%, Wong called out. "Approaching minimum safe distance." The ship shuddered violently as the edge of the cascade effect caught up with them, its gravitational forces pulling at the Titan's hull. "Structural integrity failing," Santos warned. "We're experiencing time dilation effects." The bridge seemed to elongate, objects and people stretching momentarily before returning to normal. Equipment sparked and failed around them. "G-drive at maximum," Wong shouted over the noise of buckling metal. 15 seconds to minimum safe distance. The view screen showed chaos behind them. The Vorax fleet, once a perfect formation, was now a twisted maelstrom of ships caught in the cascade's grip. Vessels collided in slow motion. Others imploded as space-time compressed around them. At the center of the effect, a darkness grew, a miniature black hole that pulled the remains of alien ships into its maw. 10 seconds, Wong counted down. The Titan's hull groaned under impossible stresses. Warning alarms blared from every station. 5 seconds. Reyes gripped her chair as reality itself seemed to bend around them. "We're clear," Wong finally announced. The Titan burst free of the cascade's influence, the G-drive propelling them beyond its reach just as the effect reached its maximum expansion. The ship tumbled for several seconds before Wong managed to stabilize their course. "Damage report," Reyes ordered, wiping blood from a cut on her forehead. "Hull integrity at 28%, Santos reported. "Multiple breaches on decks 2 through 5. G-drive operating at reduced capacity. Weapon systems offline." "The cascade?" Reyes asked. "Collapsing as predicted," Paddle answered, his voice filled with awe as he studied his sensors. "Captain, the Vorax fleet." Reyes looked at the main view screen, where there had been hundreds of alien,